A big warm welcome to one and all. This is Timothy Halloran, and again I am grateful to have the experience, the opportunity to share and connect with my fellow human beings and inhabitants of this planet Earth, our common proprietor, our shared nature, this foundation which we all reflect. And so in these videos we talk about these shared cycles, seasons, that we're experiencing on planet Earth at this time. And today is Tuesday, February 27th, 2018. And so the common season, the common cycle for us on this planet at this time is spring cleaning. Spring cleaning is on the menu these weeks. And so regardless of whether it is springtime in your local area, or if the weather is warm and the birds have started chirping, regardless, on many levels and many dimensions, we are going through a spring cleaning, purging, releasing, clearing away, and opening up period. And indeed, there is a great amount of potential for adjustments and for healing happening these weeks. And so first of all, to rewind the clock a bit, going back to mid-February, February 15th was our last new moon, which kicks off this whole lunar cycle that we're still in the midst of. So 2 weeks ago, this last new moon was a solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse in Aquarius, which is now being followed by a full moon in Virgo this coming Thursday, March 1st. And so new moon in Aquarius followed by full moon in Virgo. What do both of these zodiac signs share in common? Change, adjustment, progress, revision, clearing away again, somewhat hitting the reset button, somewhat starting from scratch, can be themes that we're experiencing these weeks, as well as a general potential unease, dissatisfaction with what we are currently dealing with that is calling our awareness to make changes and adjustments. And so what is spring cleaning? We get rid of all the junk we don't need, right? All this, all of these old plates and kitschy artwork that's been sitting in my attic or my garage for months and months, collecting cobwebs and, just taking up this unnecessary space, this clutter. This can cause us to feel unease or what we don't like. And so again, what we don't like is a part of what we're addressing, where this clearing out and this opening up is happening. And of course, there's a huge amount of opening up and clearing going on these weeks. And it can be so much opening and so much clearing. It can be nearly daunting. It can be uncertain. What's going on, what's being cleared out, where exactly we're going to be every day for the next 30 years. It can be confusing, all of this coming in and going out and opening up, and this spaciousness. Where is it leading us? What are we tuning into? And the absolute potential during this time is for alignment, for us to release and get rid of the clutter that's blocking our way so we can tune in what gives us the deepest sense of purpose, meaning, and significance in our life, which we must create. Creative flexibility, spaciousness, and openness in order to even recognize in the first place what gives us purpose, what gives us meaning. If we're so busy, if we're so active, if we're so distracted all the time, it's impossible to tune in. And so, a couple weeks ago, we also had the Sun enter Pisces. And Venus has been in Pisces. And a week ago, Mercury entered Pisces. And so, beginning really the weekend of February 17th and 18th, it's this opening up of Pisces. And part of Pisces is dissolving. What is known begins to open into the unknown, the mysterious, the mystical, the spiritual. And this is a time period where we can feel very, very weird. Weirdness is associated with Pisces. Pisces is the most weird sign. Pisces is the least defined and conceptual and easily understood sign. Why? Because Pisces is the Omega, the final sign of the zodiac, of which everything dissolves back into. And Pisces is the universal essence of which we all share, this oceanic experience of consciousness. And so our dreams begin to become symbolic and confusing and deep and mysterious. And we start to feel this ever nebulous sense of uncertainty and mystery as life starts to dissolve and everything starts to merge together like watercolor paint starting to bleed throughout the paper. And yes, it can sometimes feel weird, there can be apprehension, there can be anxiety, because there can be a sense of boundarylessness. Where do we go? What do we do? Who am I? And Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, Lord Poseidon, the god of the ocean, unwinds everything. Neptune is almost the opposite function of our world, our society, our expected obligations and duties that says, go to school and become this diploma, enter a relationship, become this role in the relationship. And Neptune comes around and unwinds all these things. I thought I was this job and I'm not. I thought I was this relationship and I'm not. I thought I was this work, this label, and I'm not. So who am I? And all of this healing and this purging and this releasing is happening now as the full moon moves into Virgo and Venus and Mercury approach Chiron at the end of Pisces this coming weekend, March 4th. This weekend is the Pisces party. As this Sunday, the Sun conjoins Neptune, while Mercury and Venus conjoins Chiron. This is a profound, deep, mystical, mysterious, potentially daunting, because there is deep cleansing and healing happening way, way deep beneath the surface. This is an opportunity for soul cleansing, for soul healing. And this is what the principle, the function, the process of Virgo is all about. So whenever we have a full moon, what does this mean? Several things. Whatever sign the full moon is in, that sign is being illuminated. Just like the sun's rays being reflected off of the moon illuminates that face of the moon that we're most familiar with, because of course it's one face of the moon that we always see illuminated. So Virgo's being illuminated through the moon, our emotions, our feelings. And whenever there's a full moon, it means that the sun is on one side of the earth and the moon is on the opposite side of the earth. That's what causes this illumination. But this is physics now. This is also two polar opposite gravitational forces pulling us in opposite directions. So a full moon always is an opposition between the sun and the moon, which can pull us into different polarities. There's a theme with every full moon, and this polarity is the polarity of Virgo and Pisces. And this is the mystical polarity. This is the polarity of alchemy, the polarity of healing, the polarity of spirituality, charity, and finding our service and our role back to the world, back to the collective, that gives us a sense of purpose and meaning and significance, and it works, and it's healthy, and it's in balance. So yes, this is a polarity where much mastery happens, and where there's a lot of problems also. Because what does Pisces represent? Our dreams, our goals, our ideals that are perfect. Pisces is like our own deepest, cherished beliefs and our dreams, our be-all and our goals, our unconditional love in our heart that beckons for us. Like a fragrance, like someone we loved who just departed the room and their echo still remains. There's this beckoing, there's this reaching for this essence that's almost there but not quite yet. That's Pisces. And Pisces is always and eternally beckoning us deeper and deeper into our soul's essence and purpose through this unwinding process that eventually does invite us back into that ethereal source of all things, this shared essence of spirit, consciousness, nothingness, whatever it may be. And so Pisces in itself covers vast, vast realms. It's not just spirituality and gumdrops and dreams and beautiful things and love and creativity. Yes, it is all of those things, but it can also be the void of all of these things, the absence of all of these things. This is also Pisces, because Pisces is where everything merges together. And when everything merges together, everything starts to feel weird. It's like when you're in a relationship with somebody and you spend too much time together, which is a fundamental problem sometimes. Not oftentimes discussed enough in our Walt Disney Prince and Princess live in the castle forever and ever ideology. Not realistic, doesn't work, because the more time you spend with somebody, you start to merge with them. And then weird things start to happen. It gets weird. You start to feel lonely even when you're together. You start to be unable to separate who am I from an individual from who are you? Who am I as an individual versus what's the world's, what's the collective's, what's on television, what's on the news. And this Pisces season is where we start to merge and dissolve in all of these things. Be aware of the sensitivity of this period. Because the sensitivity of Pisces is a dissociative, merging sensitivity. Who you're hanging around, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're breathing, what you're smelling, the color of your room, the kind of music you're listening to, the kind of television we watch, it all influences us. We are constantly merging in the ocean of all of these experiences, and we're always merging into the ocean of our collective. And that's what we're merging into right now. And it's not all just good and gumdrops and fun and games. It's the good and the bad and the ugly. And Pisces is the good and the bad and the ugly. Pisces is not just the spiritual guru or the saint or the channel. It's also the serial killer. Did you know that Pisces is one of the most common signs for a serial killer? Why? Because there can be a delusional absence of what is practical or grounded in the world, belief systems that are just totally naive or delusional and allow for us to escape from real life or real life consequences. And real life consequences can seem difficult or not perfect right now. And there can be a tendency to escape through Pisces. And there is a balance between Pisces and Virgo right now, which is that Virgo is about addressing what is not perfect. Is Virgo the earth? Yes. Is Virgo healing? Yes. Is Virgo our own process of digestion and breathing in nutrients and finding proper nourishment and health and balance oriented to nature? Yes, this is what Virgo is. And those with strong Virgo signatures in their charts can be masters of these areas. But it is a mistake to say that Virgo is perfection. The same way it's a mistake to say Pisces is reality. Pisces is ultimate reality. It's perfection that we're grasping to on this constant spiral of evolution. But because, and this is a fact, we are all in this process of evolution, which is an ongoing and potentially eternal process, it means that we are not perfect yet. Virgo is the process of perfecting. It is an ongoing process, perfecting. And the way that this process happens is through our awareness being brought to the areas that are not perfect yet. And this is why Virgo can potentially go hand in hand with a sense of inadequacy, imperfection, taintedness, impurity, feeling broken, feeling dirty, feeling that something's wrong. Because our awareness is being brought to where there is a sense of imperfection. But that is the healing process in and of itself. So we first of all must never beat ourselves up for going through periods of potential crisis or healing, because they go hand in hand. This is not necessarily a fun, celebratory full moon. We don't have to pretend that life is about having a giant smile and a huge birthday party going on all the time. There is an unfortunate amount of pressure, not only coming from our billboard world and mass production consumerist society, to again grasp for that ideal, that Pisces ideal that's unrealistic and rather unhealthy actually. It's unhealthy to believe that that's how life should be, because it denies the human experience, and what it actually denies also is healing, you know? If we refuse to admit, for example, where we feel uncomfortable, where we feel inadequate, if we just constantly deny, no, I don't feel those things, no, everything's fine, no, everything's perfect, no, everything's fine, my relationship's fine, my family's fine, my job is fine, everything's perfectly fine, why should anyone ever complain? I have all these good things given to me. Yes, we do, and we shouldn't take our lives for granted. But that's not equivalent to being in denial about the whole other side of life. There is a whole other side of life, and that's called the stinky bullshit cesspool side of life. And Virgo goes there. Why? Because Virgo's the sign of healing. Healing means going to, having our awareness and consciousness magnetized and addressing where there is injury. It's like when you break your arm. You're not going to pretend that you didn't break your arm. You're going to go to the hospital. You're going to have to sit down. It may not be a comfortable process to have to lay in a hospital bed. But guess what's happening? You are honoring the process of healing your arm by focusing and bringing all your attention to what doesn't feel right. So that healing process is happening. So no, you're not a failure. No, there's not anything wrong with you. No, you're not damned. You're not impure. You're not tainted. You're not doomed to be this way forever. If you feel any shame, inadequacy, imperfection, the list goes on and on again. Let that be a reflection. Let that be a light bulb going off that these things are the symptoms that healing is happening. And we must not add to our own burden. And yes, life can be burdensome. Yes, life can be arduous. We are trained by culture, religion, society to not complain, to say, oh no, life's not burdensome, life's not arduous. Denial. Bullshit. Life is burdensome and arduous if you're alive. Not all the time. Not to sink down into a sinking ship. Not to damn ourselves into being a victim as if that's how we identify, oh, this thing happened to me. Oh, this crisis is happening. Oh, I've lost this. Oh, I've failed this. And so this is what I am. That type of victim identification is where trouble happens. And so the actual recognizing that, no, life is arduous, life is difficult, it's not supposed to all be fun and games. No, we can have deep feelings, we can go through depression, and that's okay, that's healthy, it's a natural season and cycle of life. It's a part of the healing process. Meaning we don't have to identify as victims, because when we hyper-identify as a victim, like, woe is me, I'm just a leaf blown in the wind of life's misery and the world's villainness, and the world is a disgusting, horrible place. That is a way of escaping the healing process by not accepting any accountability for our own capability to take control and take the reins of this healing process. I'm not saying that we need to celebrate everything in life and everything that's happening or has happened to us in the past. We have been traumatized. We have been hurt. We have been oppressed. Oppression is a common denominator in this world. We're all oppressed in some way, shape, or form. Therefore, if we identify as being the oppressed, being the victim, we are escaping our opportunity to improve this world by empowering ourselves, by no longer being the victim. You don't have to be the victim. And so this is not about pointing fingers And this goes two ways. Don't point the fingers inwardly, I'm a failure, I'm a fuck up, I'm terrible, I'm pure, I'm clean. No, you're healing. And you're a human being, which means you're not meant to be perfect, and nobody is. Nobody is. As soon as we admit how we actually are as human beings, we become approachable. Now we can interact with other human beings who are imperfect. This is called humility. Humility is the golden extract, distilled essence of spiritual life. Humility is what allows for that balance of not clinging on to being a victim and not running away into the dream that life is all perfectly fine. It is the openness that we're going through a process. There is stuff being released, spaciousness being opened up. That way new things can be brought in. It doesn't happen all at once. It is a process. And so this openness to being human is this surrendering that allows the blood to circulate and for toxins to be released out of our system. Virgo rules energetic systems, And it's people who are aware of energetic systems, aware of where things are flowing and where things are blocked. That's all this awareness is doing. It's not personal. It's not the end of the world. It's not staying like this forever, but our awareness of where things are flowing and where things are blocked is what makes us natural healers. And Virgo can be hypercritical. Natural healers often are hypercritical because they're aware of everything that's not going on. And so this is a gift. It is a gift. It is a sensitivity, and any sensitivity can be a blessing or a curse, but the way to bring it into being a blessing is to honor the sensitivity. Honor where the spring cleaning is going on. This Mercury-Venus-Chiron conjunction this weekend is like a total renewing of our mind, of our values, of our relationships. There can be a hitting of the reset button. It's not an end of the world. We don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But it's a renewing. And as there's this renewing, as there's this cleansing, as there's this releasing, we are opening up to this spaciousness that informs us. That informs us like we are straws, and there is this waterfall pulling through us when we get out of our own way, and that waterfall reminds us of our truth, of our purpose. It is what gives us the sense of meaning and significance and a reason to wake up in the morning. That's who we are. That's our soul's essence. That's our soul's creativity. And so there's a real exploration and an opening of this, and an opportunity to tune into love and to find alignment, a balance between tuning into our body, right? And so Virgo is what? Doing our yoga, doing our diets, doing our rituals, doing our routines that make us feel healthy and empowered. But again, we're doing this loosely enough to allow those things to naturally flow, where we're not beating ourselves up for everything we're not eating that's not right, or the yoga practices that we've missed, or the rituals that we didn't do on time. There has to be a looseness and an integration of all of those things with ease, with flexibility, with openness, finding the path of least resistance that also works practically, functionally. There's the opportunity for healing. It's about relaxing as we are tuning in to our passion and our purpose. And so again, lots of adjustments. Mercury square Mars tomorrow, Mercury square Vesta tomorrow. There can be introversion, there can be frustration, uncertainty. It's about openness, it's about flexibility and patience right now, as these revisions and these adjustments can have many hidden blessings interwoven with them. But this master's graduate's course of surrendering and opening to the greater processes of life, even those things we don't understand or see, is the prerequisite to surrendering and opening to those possibilities being brought into our existence and reality. And so this week is Pisces, full moon in Virgo, March 1st, and then moon moves into Libra this weekend on Saturday. Very, very creative weekend, the 3rd and 4th. Explore, connect, collaborate, open up, tune into what you love and cherish in your hearts the most. And then next Tuesday, March 6th, Venus and Mercury move into Aries. Out of this openness, out of this tuning in and finding alignment, boom, that's when the connection happens. Boom, that's when the energy channels opens up and we find momentum again. Again, Pisces can be emptiness, it can be loneliness, it can be isolation, it can be depression, existential depression. I'm feeling the sadness of this whole world. I'm feeling the suffering of humanity. This is good when we feel those things. It means we are awake and we are in tune with the world. We are alive and we're aware. But in even opening up to these feelings and that greater process, again, this is a healing process that awakens us back into our purpose and passion. This is what I don't like that I'm feeling, and this is what I can do about it. And it doesn't have to be all figured out right now. You don't have to break through the finish line and run through the goalpost. Baby steps is the key to Virgo. You don't have to be perfect today. You're a human being. Tiny little adjustments, tiny little improvements, little rituals, little yogic practices, little dietary improvements every day make worlds of difference. So be flexible, be easy, and be forgiving with yourself. And that's where we find this attunement. That's where we awake. The world is suffering. I am suffering. Here's what I can do. I am a healer for myself and the world. And then boom, Mercury and Venus move into Aries. Let's go for it. Let's initiate these new patterns, move in these new directions, find this new passion, this new calling. And we can be filled with energy. Coming out of this period that could have been more energy-less, lethargic, or lost. It's okay. It's a part of the seasons, the cycles of life. And opening up to this, we are reborn. Mercury traveling with Venus these weeks, it is like we're aligning our minds and our values and our relationships together. So what we're doing has that sense of purpose in all of our interactions and our sharing. Mercury also enters his shadow phase coming up. This is on March 8th and then turns retrograde towards the end of this March 22nd. So again, this is a period of a lot of self-reflection, process, release, self-reflect. This is a clearing out that is naturally happening. Jupiter turns retrograde March 8th. We are really tuning in to what's going on very much beneath the surface. And we're having an opportunity to look at our orientation to life and nature. In that deeper, vaster, what is our truth? What is our philosophy? Again, what is giving our sense of purpose and meaning? And Virgo and Scorpio and Aquarius is addressing there are things that do need to be changed. There are issues going on. We are victims of our world, of our childhood, of our programming. And these troubles, these areas, these hang-ups can still exist in our makeup, in our unconsciousness. And so it is to be a human being living in time. And so it is that this may be an eternal process that is hand in hand with the reality that life can always get better. And even when we feel at our worst, at our most tainted, at our most impure, or in the midst of crises, these are oftentimes in the most hidden, the most mysterious ways connected to the improving, the healing, the upliftment, and the inspiring of our own hearts and our own world. And so do not lose faith. Trust yourself. Trust your heart. Trust your intuition. Jupiter turning retrograde is a time to be honest with our truth, honest with our orientation with life. Jupiter in Scorpio says, be honest with everything. Do not hide anything. Keep everything swept out. Spring cleaning, sweep it all out from under the rug. And this is how we get lighter, cleaner, more motivated, and more aligned with our soul's potential. And so these are progressive times, Venus, Mercury, Chiron this weekend. Again, this can be, it can be heavy, it can be depressed, it can be feeling like I can't communicate with people. Again, if there is introversion, this can be a process. We go in, we process, we self-reflect, and then we share. We go in, we process, we self-reflect, and we share. That's okay. It doesn't have to all come out at once. It's this deeper, vaster cycle going on. We also don't have to think that we have to save everybody else in the world either, to like, oh no, look at these crises out there, look at these problems out there, look at those people that need our help. we are helping the world by being aligned, by being in tune, by being healthy ourselves and helping others where we can without throwing ourselves under the bus or self-sacrificing. Make sure you don't self-sacrifice or lose your own energy to try and save or uplift other people. We don't have to wrap our friends and family up in, cotton or wool like mummies in order for them to be safe, because again, this process of releasing and healing is inherently good and healthy for all of us. And there are hidden blessings in all of these experiences. And not everybody is going through tumultuous or crisis. This can be a deeply, deeply spiritual time. Tune into your heart. This is the sacred heart symbol. The flaming heart of unconditional love is this weekend, Venus and Chiron and Pisces. So we can go very, very deep into the bleeding heart poet at this time. And this is to get in tune with our soul. Who are you really? To be in tune with your soul, to be in tune with your spirit is inspiration. This is how we fill up our glass with the energy, the purpose, the momentum of life. And so don't be afraid to go deep. Don't be afraid if the whole spectrum opens up, because therein lies the juiciest, the most fulfilling, rich components of life. That is beauty with a capital B. That is love with a capital L. And so even in our crises, celebrate our crises. Even in our imperfections, celebrate our imperfections. Let us celebrate how awesomely imperfect we are, how perfectly imperfect we are, and how we set ourselves up for this beautiful journey of constant improvement and evolution. That's almost like God reading Morse code, rubbing his thumbprint over the bumps of life. This is all a part of this process of experience. And just how the Japanese ancients, when they broke their vases or their pottery, they would re-glue them back together with a golden seal. And those cracks that were originally the source of brokenness become the source of beauty. This is the essence of the human being. Where our pain, where our wounds, where our crisis is where the light, is where the beauty, and is where the L, with the love with the capital L, is born, and like a fountainhead releases from our hearts. So it is deep, it is poetic, and I wish all the best for you. Be creative this weekend, explore, pick up a new instrument, channel our feelings and emotions into art, into connections, into sharing with others who value similar things with us, who are on a similar heart's wavelength as us. And so as always, thank you again for the opportunity to connect and share. If you're interested in even more, want more astrology, if you want monthly written readings, if you want a Q&A session every month, a monthly calendar with all of the transits and aspects, feel free to sign up for my Patreon page. And all of these things is an ongoing experiment that we're connecting and sharing together. And as always, you can always purchase readings through my website, workshops, or get in touch with me at rasalilahealing.com. Again, wishing all the best through this deep, profound, and healing period. So much love to yours, to yourself, and your beloveds. Please take care. Much love. Easygoingness. It's okay. Okay. Ah. It's okay to die. When things get a little too claustrophobic, that's when we just, okay. It's not awkward. It's over. And what's left is all of this.